Hello, my name is GiBi for the Horror Homestead, and this is one final read-through of The Week Before, a Five Nights at Freddy's interactive novel. Upon beating the game, we discovered a magical cell phone that lets us take it back in time to the beginning of the story, and so now we're going to go through and play through this New Game Plus mode and see what secrets we can uncover. Let's cut back to the live GiBi for his reading. So we're going to now play through the second entire playthrough of the book, to see what happens now that we have the phone, and see what other kind of ending we can get. So we have rewound all the way back to night 1. Now the only thing we have in our inventory is the phone. Let's see what happens. You are Ralph, and working security at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is your dream job. At least that's what you told them in the interview. You've been there so long, the relentlessly cheerful animatronic characters feel like old friends. You love how their antics bring saccharine smiles to kids' faces. This place creates happy family memories, and you help make that possible. But all good things must come to an end. It's time to move on while you still can. This is your last week. You've always worked the day shift, but after a sudden staff vacancy and temporary closure, management asked you to take the night shift for a change. Letting them down is never an option. Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy are Fazbear Entertainment's biggest assets. Your duty is to protect them and the restaurant's reputation. Your contract calls it a matter of life and death. You've heard rumors that the animatronics get somewhat lively after hours, but no one's better equipped to handle them than you, 22-time Employee of the Month. As Night Watchman, you'll face many choices that lead to various outcomes. If you find an item that might help you do your job, write it down for later. Now for your first big decision, play on Normalty. We only have our wits and the phone. The security office at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza is practically a second home. You've spent so much of your time here over your career, probably too much time cooped up in a glorified closet, staring at a buzzing, flickering monitor until your eyes dry out. But everyone's gotta make a living, and you have an 11-year-old daughter, Coppelia, to provide for. You often feel like the only thing you're good at is protecting others, even at your own expense. The office is always dark since there aren't any outside windows, but somehow at night it still manages to give you the creeps. You're probably just spooked because you're all alone in the restaurant, aside from Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy. Animatronics aren't fantastic conversationalists, but boy can they sing and dance. Of course, they've also been known to do other things. Rumor is, they've become strangely aggressive lately, but surely those glitches were ironed out or they wouldn't have reopened this place. Not that customers have exactly been flocking back just yet. After the restaurant closes and everyone is gone, the animatronics enter roaming mode and walk around to prevent their servos from locking up. You hear heavy footsteps echoing out there now. Clomp, clomp, clomp. If animatronics encounter you in the restaurant at night, they should ignore you, but the safest bet is to stay in the office until 6 a.m. When they return to the stage, enter sleep mode, and recharge. Then you can go home. Management cares about their employees, and it's time-consuming and expensive to hire and train new ones. Not to mention the occasional legal fees and the hassle of covering up accidents, so they installed reinforced doors on either side of the office. In the unlikely event that an animatronic visits you here, you can open and shut the east and west doors by pressing the big red buttons in the doorways. The light switches below them illuminate the east and west halls outside your office so you can see whether anything is out there. Surviving the night probably seems like a low bar for a job, but this isn't about battling the clock. You may have to venture out of the office from time to time. The animatronics are clumsy and mindless, naturally. If they break something out there, you have to fix it and clean up the mess right away so the restaurant is ready to open, just in case any customers show up. Think of the children! Of course, your number one concern is making sure nothing happens to Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica. Oh, and don't forget Foxy. Do not forget about Foxy. There are 3 security monitors on the desk, but 2 of them are always on the fritz. Replacing them would let you see more, but you guess management spent the money on those doors instead. You use the control panel in front of you to switch the one working display to feeds from various cameras around the restaurant. You check the stage first. Your heart pounds when you see Bonnie and Chica are gone, so that's who you heard walking around the restaurant. Freddy's just hanging out up there on his own. The brown bear is dapper as always in his black top hat and bow tie. You're glad they restored the vintage animatronics with his classic look. Freddy doesn't wander much, as if he's above all that just because he's the star of the show. Or maybe he's saving his energy for something. I'm the star of this show, you tell yourself as you switch over to the Pirate's Cove camera. Foxy is shy. The curtains are drawn, so he must still be back there. Before you locate Bonnie and Chica, you discover a situation that demands immediate attention. The lights in the men's room are out. You must replace the light bulbs before your shift ends, and it's better to do it sooner than later. The new day shift security guard left quite a mess, scrunched up food wrappers and empty soda cups everywhere. You know it can be hard to stay awake while watching cameras for 6 hours, but there's an unspoken rule in this office. Keep it clean for the next person. You're going to have to leave a passive-aggressive note before you finish tonight. They'll never make Employee of the Month with an attitude like that. Just because we don't often meet our fellow employees doesn't mean we aren't part of the same friendly Fazbear family trademark. It's important to have some pride and consideration. This is one of the reasons you agreed to record those training videos for new hires and leave phone messages as part of orientation. It helps you feel a connection to the other guards. You hope hearing a calm voice helps them keep a level head when things get tense, and it's nice to know that even after you leave this job, part of you will always remain here. You yank open the top middle drawer and yup, more trash. You pluck out the crumpled balls of paper and soda cups and spot something small and shiny at the bottom of the desk. A paperclip. Those always come in handy. You slip it into your pocket and finish tidying up the office. All those soda cups remind you about the restroom and those broken lights you have to take care of. The restrooms are located on the east side of the restaurant, so you head through the door on your right. You glance at the rules for safety poster as you exit the security office. You don't know why they're posted in this corner where kids shouldn't be anyway. The rules certainly don't apply to you, especially number 8, leave before dark. You laugh nervously. The hallway is decorated with cheerful stars and a checkerboard stripe matching the floor tiles, but the dim light from the lone fixture overhead makes the fading decor seem almost sinister, especially the vintage character posters for Chica, Freddy, and Bonnie. What was that? You thought you heard something, but it was far off. A clanking sound, maybe from the kitchen? The kind of sound a 6-foot-tall animatronic chicken might make if it knocked a metal pot off a counter. You pause and strain your ears to listen, but you hear nothing more. You reach the dining area. An overhead light illuminates 6 long tables already prepped for a party with confetti tablecloths and party hats lined up. You start to make your way to the restrooms, but you freeze at the sound of slow, heavy footsteps. Hide under the table. You scramble under a table and lie on your stomach, peering out from under the tablecloth. Now you feel the vibration of footsteps as well as hear them. They plod toward the dining area. The animatronic would be moving faster if it knew your location. If you make a break for it and stay low behind the tables, you might be able to reach the restrooms without being spotted, or you can cower here silently and hope whoever it is moves on soon. Use the bonus item. You wait for the animatronic to leave, but it doesn't seem to be in any hurry. It's just pacing back and forth. Even though it hardly matters which one it is, you want to know anyway. You scoot forward excruciatingly slowly, half an inch at a time, until you can see its feet. Its giant rabbit feet. I thought a rabbit's foot was supposed to be lucky, you think. Bonnie could be here all night. If he heads back to the stage to recharge just before 6 a.m., you won't have enough time to fix the light bulbs in the bathroom before your shift ends. And then it's a goodbye Employee of the Month streak. This is your last week on the job, but you've put so many good years of your life into it. You'd hate to throw it all away and ruin a perfect record. Suddenly, you remember the mobile phone you have. Maybe you can use that somehow. If you call another phone in the restaurant, it might distract Bonnie. Or you could call for help. The animatronics aren't supposed to behave like this, and you worry they will only get worse if you don't do something. Call the security office, call the party rooms, call the backstage, call the police. I wasn't expecting there to be this much more gameplay. I thought we were just going to kind of go through a nice path. Let's call the security office. You pull up the contact list and click on security office. You hear the line ringing, but the office must be too far away for Bonnie to hear it. But Bonnie hears something. He freezes at the other end of the room. You imagine his ears twitching and swiveling around. Then he starts moving, fast, in your direction. He hears the line ringing from the receiver of your mobile phone. You end the call, but he's already on his way, and he'll reach your hiding spot in seconds. You might be able to distract him if you call somewhere else, quickly. Party room, backstage, police. Let's go party room. You pull up the contact list and click on party room 2. The line rings in the mobile phone's receiver, and then a second later, you hear a ringing phone from the far end of the dining area. Bonnie freezes right in front of the table you're hiding under. You think he somehow found you, but he turns and is gone. His footsteps recede as he heads for the party room north of your location. You grip the phone tightly as it continues to ring, trying to keep your hand from shaking. Your plan worked, but it won't take Bonnie long to realize no one is in the party room, and he'll come back looking again. Better not waste this opportunity. Proceed to the restroom. So then now this is normal, so we're going to rewind and we're going to do a different call. So we're going to call backstage. You pull up the contact list and click on backstage. You can barely hear the phone ringing in this distance, but it's loud enough to get Bonnie's attention. He runs off toward the sound of it. You keep it ringing on your mobile phone and climb out from under the tables, so you can get to the restroom before Bonnie returns or another animatronic comes after you. As you stand, the line clicks. Someone picked up the backstage phone. You squeeze the mobile phone in your hand and listen, holding your breath so as not to make a sound. Garbled whispering, the sound of a child crying, and then a deep, distorted voice in a burst of static says, "It's me." We can respond with, "Who are you?" or hang up and proceed to the restroom. We're gonna say, who are you? Who are you? Static crackles in the receiver, and then the line goes dead. The phone is dead too, shorted out, or the battery drained or something. The screen is dark and the keys no longer respond. It feels surprisingly cold in your sweaty hands. You shake your head. You hear a child laughing. Even though the call was disconnected, but there can't be a child here, not at this hour. You call out, "Hello? Who's there?" The laughter continues, increasing in volume. You can't stand the grating sound of it anymore. You drop the mobile phone and clamp your hands over your ears. The sound doesn't lessen at all. It's in your head. It's in you. You start laughing along with it. Even when something grabs your leg and pulls you backwards, out from under the table, you keep laughing as you're dragged across the dining room and toward backstage, where an empty animatronic suit awaits you to complete it. Game over. Alright, we're gonna call the police. There's no number for local law enforcement in the phone, so you just dial 911. The line rings twice before a woman answers. "Hello, this is 911. I'm Wendy. How can I help you?" The animatronic's footsteps are coming closer, so you don't answer. "Hello, anyone there?" Wendy says. "Yes," you whisper back. "I didn't catch that," Wendy says. Bonnie walks away again. "Yes," you say. "Are you in trouble? Say yes or no." "Yes," you swallow. "Where are you located?" "Freddy Fazbear's Pizza," you say. "Freddy's? I thought they closed up. After that horrible..." She draws a shaky breath. "I didn't take those calls, thankfully, but I heard the recordings and, well, it wasn't pretty. Freddy's is open, except for right now, because it's the middle of the night, of course, so, yes, we're closed, but just for the night. Kids like to pull pranks, trying to break in there after dark. No good will come of it. You wouldn't catch me there at night. You'd have to be a grade-A idiot to..." "I'm the night watchman, Ralph," you say. She's quiet for so long you think she may have been disconnected. "The night watchman? Then what are you calling me for?" "There's something bad here. The animatronics, they..." Something snatches the phone from your hand and ends the call. You scream as you're dragged out from under the table. Try again. Game over. Okay, so we're supposed to call backstage, and then we're supposed to hang up and go to the restroom, and then this all plays out as normal. You step into the men's restroom and shut the door. The antiseptic scent of bleach still pervades the air, which is far from the worst thing you've whiffed in here. You try to look around, but it's too dark with both lights out. That's why you're here. What are the odds that two bulbs would burn out at the same time? Maybe there was some kind of power surge after all. The wires in the building is ancient. That's probably why the cameras always glitch and monitors in the security office keep overloading. That might even explain some of the strange behavior exhibited by the animatronics. Unless... You shake your head. You're in the dark when it comes to that stuff. In this case, literally. Just focus on your job, you think. Focus on getting home to Capellia. Everything else is way above your pay grade. Plink, plink, plink. That dripping faucet is so annoying you can't concentrate on anything else. You turn to your right and feel for the sinks as you edge along the wall. When you reach them, you tighten the hot and cold water taps until the drip stops. The sink is filled with water. It appears that something is clogging the drain. You probe it and feel something soft and slimy. You pry it loose and squish it in your fingers. It's slightly sticky. You raise it to your nose and sniff tentatively. Chewed gum. Ew. With the obstruction removed, the water drains out of the sink, gurgling down the pipes. How many night watchmen does it take to change a light bulb? None. They refuse to do it, because if they chase away the night, they're out of a job. You smile to yourself as you take a detour to retrieve a small step stool and new bulb from the maintenance closet. You often make up jokes in your head while you're working, and you can't wait to get home to inflict your latest creations on Capellia. She'll groan loudly and affectionately say, "Bad joke, Dad." You'll remind her that telling dad jokes is a mandatory requirement of all fathers, and you never shirk on your duty. The boring, real answer to the question is, of course, 1. You finish twisting the new bulb inside the socket and say, "Let there be light," as it flickers on, casting the bathroom in its warm glow. You blink as your eyes adjust to the darkness. The white porcelain urinals and sinks are gleaming. This is the cleanest the bathroom will be all day. Once the restaurant opens and the kids are unleashed to eat and play, this will quickly become one of the most disgusting rooms in the facility. 1 light down, 1 to go. Listen at the door. Your caution pays off. You hear footsteps outside, moving much more quickly than Bonnie or Chico usually do, getting louder by the second. While you've been in the restroom, you haven't been keeping an eye on Pirate's Cove. Foxy must have left his distraction. You hope he didn't hear you working in here, but he does have big ears. They're among the first parts and still function on the tattered old animatronic. Yeah, he's on his way to the restroom right now, and you don't have much time before he gets to you. Hide in a stall. Hide! You have to hide! You can't fit in the maintenance closet. It's too small and crammed full of mops, buckets, and cleaning supplies. Your only option is to duck into one of the stalls and stand on the toilet, like you did in elementary school when you needed to get away from the mean kids. Now that you think about it, maybe that's one of the reasons you became a security guard, so you could help those who couldn't help themselves. Of course, you imagine that you would be armed in order to protect and serve, but weapons of any kind aren't allowed at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Nothing kills a kid's party more than seeing someone with a taser hanging out in the corner, even if he is the good guy. You dash to the first bathroom stall, but find that it's locked from the inside. It's secured with a simple slide bolt latch. You might be able to get it open if you had something thin enough to fit between the door and jamb. Use the paperclip. You check your pockets for the paperclip you found earlier. Got it. You straighten out the wire and then bend one end of it up to a right angle. Foxy isn't the only one with a hook now. You insert your new makeshift tool between the door and frame and fiddle around. It only takes a second to catch the knob of the bolt and slide the lock open. The door swings out toward you. You slip into the stall and pull the door closed. You don't believe this. The door won't stay shut. The slide bolt is jammed now. Oops. And you can't lock the door. What rotten luck. Foxy's footsteps stop right outside the restroom. What now? You pull the wad of chewed gum from your pocket and pick lint off it. It's still soft and slightly sticky. You wedge it into the door lock and the door stays closed. You sigh with relief and crouch on the toilet, tucking your feet under you and out of view. The restroom door creaks open and bumps against the wall. Someone is there, waiting in the doorway. Waiting, watching, waiting. Somehow you manage to remain perfectly still and eventually whoever it is leaves. You lower yourself gently to the floor of the stall, freezing any time you make the slightest sound and waiting for a moment before you continue. Soon you are lying on your belly, grateful that the restroom has been so thoroughly cleaned. You peer out from under the door. No sign of the metal legs and feet of Foxy's exposed endoskeleton. From here you can glimpse a sliver of the restroom hallway and beyond that the dining area. All is quiet. You lie there for a few more minutes to be sure you're alone and to settle down and catch your breath. That was too close. You're getting nervous about being outside the security office, with its cameras and door locks to make you feel, well, more secure. But before you can head back there, you need to finish your job for the night. You stare up at the second broken light bulb. You're the only thing standing between me and home tonight, you say. So I'm talking to inanimate objects now, and myself. That's awesome. You've been through a lot already. You're tempted to leave now, knowing that someone on the day shift will have to replace the bulb and fix that bathroom door, if you don't. But like you said in one of your training videos for the restaurant, you can't spell team without M and E. After the bite of 87, you heard some of the staff twist that around to, you can't spell team without M-E-A-T. You didn't much appreciate that. People deal with tragedy and loss in their own ways, sometimes with humor, but hey, at least it shows that they were listening during orientation. You look inside the second bathroom stall. The close call with Foxy has you on edge, and constantly glancing over your shoulder. You're pretty sure the second bathroom stall is empty, so why do you hear hoarse, garbled whispers coming from inside? You can't make out the words, but it sounds like someone is reciting poetry or a song or a children's rhyme? Or maybe it's a jingle from a TV commercial. Something something stains, something something remains. It's probably an ad for laundry detergent, but where's it coming from? You pull the door towards you slowly. Empty. Or not quite. A ballpoint pen is lying on the floor at the base of the toilet. You don't know how the cleaning crew missed that, but you're definitely going to shove it in their face. You stepped into the stall and retrieved the pen. The door of the stall bumps closed behind you. Your pulse quickens as you imagine yourself being trapped in here, but you force yourself to turn around calmly. That's when you see the words written on the inside of the door in angry scribbles of ink. It's me. Weird. You'll have to leave a note for the crew to scrub that off first thing in the morning. And you'll be sure to suggest to management that they add no vandalism to the list of rules. You exit the stall and go to replace the second broken light bulb. Add ballpoint pen to your inventory. You replace the second bulb even faster than the first. The later it gets, the more dangerous it is to be outside the security office. You haven't been watching the cameras, but you have to assume all the animatronics are walking around now. With the bathroom once again bright and cheerful, you can head back to safety, but getting there will be very unsafe. You return the step stool to the maintenance closet and dispose of the old burned-out bulbs in the trash. You glimpse your reflection in the wide mirror. You look terrible. The light reveals deep shadows under your eyes. Transitioning from the day shift to the night shift is already starting to fatigue you, making you question what's real and what isn't. At least it's only for a week, and then you can rest as much as you want before diving back into your job search. A position is opening up for a security guard at your daughter's school, and you really hope to get it, but middle schoolers can be just as difficult to handle as animatronics. In some ways, Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and Foxy are just big, terrifying kids. You hope you don't run into any of them on your way back to the office. Better hurry, the shift is almost over. You listen at the door. You're itching to get moving, but you press your ear to the bathroom door and listen. It sounds quiet out there. You grab the handle and are about to open the door when you glance down. Faint light from the dining area seeps in under the door, but is interrupted by two shadows. Those could be feet, you think. Really big feet. The moment stretches out for a long time. Your knuckles are white. You're gripping the door handle so tightly, but then the shadows are gone and you hear footsteps moving away. You've been breathing shallowly this whole time, worried you'd be heard, so you take in a deep breath. It's now or never. You sneak back to the security office without encountering any more animatronics. By the time you get there, it's 5:45 a.m. Your shift is almost over. You check the cameras. To your relief, Bonnie, Chica, and Freddy are all present on the stage, and the curtain is drawn in Pirate's Cove. Previous night watchmen have reported the animatronics behaving strangely, but like everyone else, you dismissed their wild stories. Sometimes people fall asleep staring at the camera feeds and they imagine things, bolstered by the old rumors and stories. The mind can be a funny thing, making it hard to distinguish hallucinations from reality. Now you feel bad for not believing them, and you know if you tell others about what happened tonight, they won't believe you either. Perhaps they would even discourage you from talking about what you've seen. You would never do anything that would harm Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. You've spent too much time in, put so much of yourself into your job that you're practically a part of it yourself. You never pictured yourself leaving, but it seems like the best time to go, especially considering everything that happened tonight. Just 4 more shifts left. You can do this. You use the bonus item. You're looking forward to retiring from this place, but you also just realize that this is the beginning of the end for you. You only have so many nights left at Freddy's, and that's kind of bittersweet. You're feeling a bit nostalgic and thinking about your legacy as the phone guy, so you decide to leave a message for the next person in this chair. Only this time, you want to tell them the truth. Everything they need to know to make it here. Well, not everything. Management screens these messages, so you'll have to insert some strong hints. You don't remember the number for the voicemail system on the office phone, but this mobile phone has it on speed dial. You connect to the messaging service. Beep.
Hello? Hello? I wanted to record a message for you to help you get settled in on your first night. I actually worked in that office before you. I'm finishing up my last week now, as a matter of fact, so I know it can be a bit overwhelming, but I'm here to tell you there's nothing to worry about.
You run through the introductory greeting they always make you read, and then touch on some important details, like how the animatronics will be on the move, and how to engage with them, or rather, not engage with them. That endoskeleton stuff. All the things they should really tell you when you sign up. You watch the clock on the desk as the numbers flip over from 5:59 to 6 a.m. Yay! You survived your first night at Freddy's. All is quiet as you leave the security office and pass through the restaurant. You step outside and take in the fresh, cool air, happy and grateful to be alive. Even the early morning light seems too bright after the darkness of the pizza place. You lose all sense of time in there, since most of the windows are in different parts of the restaurant. There isn't a cloud in the sky. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful day. Too bad you'll have to sleep through most of it once you send Coppelia off to school, and then it won't be long before you're back here for your second night. Who knows what that will bring. You lock up the restaurant, wave goodbye to the sleeping animatronics inside, and head home. When you get home at 6:30 a.m., you wish you could go to bed, but your day isn't over just yet. Now it's time for your second but most important job, parenting. This one is a full-time and pays nil, but you wouldn't have it any other way. However, getting your 11-year-old daughter, Coppelia, up and ready for school is more challenging than anything Freddy Fazbear's Pizza could throw your way. You peek into her bedroom and see her still snoozing peacefully. Books are scattered across her bedspread and on the floor, and an open one lies in her chest, rising and falling with her steady breathing. She was clearly up late last night, reading as usual. You laugh a little when you see drool in the corner of her mouth and a damp spot on her pillowcase. I wish I had a camera, you think. You study her a little longer, trying to hold on to this memory for later. You go into the kitchen to make breakfast, intentionally banging pots and pans around you as you cook eggs and bacon. You can't help but think of Chica, and you force the thought away. You're off the clock now, and you will not let the animatronics live rent-free in your head. The combination of Coppelia's alarm clock and the aroma of bacon is enough to wake her. She pads out into the kitchen in her rocket ship pajamas, hair a tangled mess, and her face lights up when she sees you. "Missed me, huh?" you say, twirling your spatula. "No, I just love bacon so much." She gives you a hug, and by extension, the person making it for me. You laugh. "But seriously, I missed you," she says. "While you were sleeping? Especially then. I never sleep well when you aren't home. I hate leaving you, but it's just for this week." She sees the concern on your face and puts a hand over her mouth. "Oh, Dad, I didn't mean to guilt-trip you. I'm fine, really. Mrs. Andrews always looks in on me, and she hears everything that goes on around here." "That's an understatement," you smile. You're grateful to have someone close by to watch the house when you're away, but you've never worried that Coppelia will get into any trouble on her own. If anything, she's keeping an eye on kindly Mrs. Andrews, who had sadly lost her own daughter at a young age years ago, and has been overprotective of the neighborhood kids since. Coppelia reaches for the tray of cooked bacon. You slap her hand away. You're not getting one slice of bacon until you're dressed for school. She sticks her tongue out and disappears into her room. Coppelia comes back in record time with her hair neatly tied in a ponytail, a bedazzled purple t-shirt, tights, and a jean jacket. She sits down and you put a heaping amount of bacon on her plate that she immediately starts shoveling into her mouth. "How was work?" she asks. "Uneventful," you lie. Sounds like my dream job, she says. Sitting at a desk in the middle of the night, pushing buttons, I would catch up on so much reading until boredom kills me. You would not be killed by boredom at Freddys, you say, and promise me you'll never work there. She laughs. Okay, sure. Now how was your day? You catch up with each other while you eat breakfast. Then she notices the time on the Kit Kat clock and jumps up. My bus! She shoves another piece of bacon in her mouth and grabs her backpack by the kitchen door. She rummages around in it. Crud, do you have a pen? I have to finish my homework on the bus. You raise an eyebrow. Why didn't you do it last night? Because I couldn't find my pen. Keep up, Dad. You give her your pen. You grab the pen from your pocket. Here you go. Don't lose this one. You toss it to her. She catches it expertly. She should really be on a sports team, but all she wants to do is read, tinker with projects in the basement, and play the Sega Genesis. She's a great kid, you think. I don't know how I got so lucky. Thanks, she looks at the pen. Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, Employee of the Month. Don't you have a drawer full of these? You're the best worker there. Not that the bar is that high. Hey, give me my pen back. Nope. She twists the pen and discovers there's a screwdriver inside. Wicked. Yeah, you probably shouldn't be bringing that to school. You stand up. I'll find you another pen. The bus honks outside. Too late, gotta go. She runs to the door. A moment later, she runs back and gives you a kiss on the cheek. Love you. And then she's gone, with your pen in hand. You already miss her. At least working the night shift doesn't take away your time together, though you don't like the idea of leaving her home alone, even under the sometimes too watchful eyes of the neighbors. Just 4 more days. You yawn and head to bed. Night 2, 12 a.m. You yawn. Time to make the donuts. You usually start your shifts repeating the well-known catchphrase from those donut commercials, but there aren't any coworkers here to laugh along with you. The only people who ever laughed were the new hires, the first time you said it. And they were only being polite since they thought you were their boss. But you're nothing if not consistent. It was easy to do the right thing every day at work here, but at night it's hard to know what the right thing to do is. You're in unfamiliar territory. Fortunately, you're not only consistent, you're persistent. You never give up trying until you get the job done. You hope that's one of the better qualities Coppelia picks up from you. You also hope you'll be around for a long time to teach your daughter even more lessons about how to live and survive in the world as she grows up. As much as you love this job, you want more for her future than a dead-end career as a security guard. Most importantly, you hope that if anything happens to you on the job, she stays far away from Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. Check the dining area. You punch in the button for the dining area. Just like last night, the tables are set for a big party, with tablecloths and party hats all laid out. You wonder if the room was used at all. It looks exactly the way it did yesterday, as if nothing has been touched, or the staff is simply meticulous about placing everything exactly where it should be. When you do the same job day in, day out for years, you get pretty good at it. There is one thing out of the ordinary. Bonnie's head lies in one of the aisles between the party tables. It must have fallen off and rolled down there. It's a good thing that happened after hours, because nothing sets off customers more than a malfunctioning animatronic. A head detaching and bouncing off the stage would probably result in some kids needing therapy, not to mention their parents. Are Bonnie's eyes looking at you? The head is lying on its side, but his eyes are trained on the security cameras. Is it a warning? A cry for help? You shake your head. It's just an optical illusion, and indeed, when you look back at the monitor, Bonnie's eyes are looking in a different direction. You need to reattach Bonnie's head and make sure this doesn't happen again, especially during a performance. Exit through the right door. You arrive at the dining area. Bonnie's head is lying on the floor, staring vacantly at the stars and streamers hanging from the ceiling, but something else catches your attention. The doors to party rooms 1 and 2 are closed. Those were previously open when you saw them on camera, but the feed in that section is notoriously glitchy. It's possible you didn't see them clearly the first time. You're the night watchman, so you should check out anything suspicious, and this is definitely suspicious. Those party rooms are a perfect hiding place, and it's not like the animatronics to go around opening and closing doors. You still have to take care of Bonnie, but it's not like his head is going anywhere. So much for an uneventful night. You go to Bonnie's head. Bonnie's head is what you came here for. You walk over and pick it up. Oof, it's heavier than it looks, and something sticky leaks onto your hands. Machine oil, hopefully? You're glad it didn't leave a mess on the floor. Even after all this time, this is the closest you've been to an animatronic. One reason being the smell. These things haven't been washed in. Ever? There's something sharp and sour about the stench, like food left out to rot or roadkill. You wrinkle your nose. It's very unpleasant. You've also never touched an animatronic before, which of course is strongly discouraged. The fur is matted and kind of greasy. There are probably things crawling inside it. You don't want to hold this any longer than you have to. You turn it around in your hands until Bonnie is looking at you. Let's get you patched up, you say. Bonnie's eyes blink and swivel toward you. You're so startled you almost drop the head. It's probably just happened because you were moving it around. You look up at the stage. Bonnie's torso is still up there, and so is Freddy Fazbear, but now Chica is gone. Should you go up and try to reattach the head, or look for tools and instructions as parts and services behind the stage? You go up on stage. You climb up onto the stage show and look out, imagining an audience of boisterous kids and frazzled parents. Staff and customers are not allowed up here. The last time a kid found his way on stage during a performance? You shudder. That's what liability waivers are for. Where Chica usually stands, you see a metal plate. The animatronics recharge on those at night, through battery terminals on their feet. You gently place Bonnie's head back on his body. The animatronics deserve your respect. When you think about it, you wouldn't have a job without them. They have some flaws, but they've brought so much happiness to families over the years. That fact needs to be weighed against their actions. None of us are perfect. We all make mistakes, right? Bonnie's head wobbles. You can't leave him like this. It seems like you can tighten it by turning. But which way, left or right? Does it matter? You probably can't make him any worse. But maybe you should pop backstage and see if there are some instructions. You're just a security officer. You aren't trained in repairing the animatronics. And if you do this incorrectly, you could lose your job earlier than planned. Or worse. Use the bonus item. You may not know how to fix Bonnie, but you know someone who does. You pull out the mobile phone you found and scroll through the contacts. Fortunately, it has the home number for your buddy Dave in maintenance. It's good to have friends in maintenance, even if they always beat you at bowling and never pay for dinner. Who is this? Do you know what time it is? Dave growls. It's 4 a.m. You can always count on Dave to answer his own questions. He can be a know-it-all, but he actually does know it all, so you overlook his personality flaws, especially when you need his help. It's 4 already? You say. Gee, time flies when you're having fun. That you, Ralph? You're losing it, calling me at this hour. Getting there. Listen, I have a question. A hypothetical question. Let's say an animatronic's head falls off. Which way do you twist it back on to reattach it? You know the old saying, lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. Great, thanks, sorry to bother. Hang on, he says. Which animatronic is it, hypothetically speaking? Bonnie. Let's see. Make sure you put the center screw in first and tighten it good. Where would said screws be? As luck would have it, you find 3 screws scattered across the stage. I don't have a screwdriver, you say. I'm sure Mr. Employee of the Month can figure it out. Click. If you have the ballpoint pen, tap here, search the dining area, tap here. We're going to search the dining area first. You swiftly search the dining area for anything useful. Under one of the tables is a pile of cake crumbs and dirt that the cleaning crew missed. You discover a gold coin with Foxy's face on it. It's only plastic and painted gold, of course. One of the treasure coins from Pirate's Cove. It has to have been under there for some time. The cove has been off limits since the pizza place reopened. The coin is just thin enough to be useful as a makeshift screwdriver. You slap Bonnie's head on and twist it to the right like Dave said. From backstage you hear Foxy singing, and banging sounds are coming from the kitchen. You should get out of here fast. You use the coin to tighten the screws in Bonnie's head and call it the job done. Add the coin to your inventory and return to the security office. The other option's using the pen. Dave seems a little bitter about the fact that you've got Employee of the Month 5 times more than he has, but who's keeping score? All that matters is doing the best job possible, and if you receive a little recognition once in a while, that makes you feel pretty good. Plus, you guys are friends, aren't you? Hold on. Employee of the Month get to choose a gift from the catalog, and one of those is a Freddy Fazbear's ballpoint pen with a hidden screwdriver. You take out the ballpoint pen and twist the bottom off, revealing the small flathead screwdriver inside. It's too small for the screws, and they're the wrong kind, but it's better than using your fingers. You twist Bonnie's head to the right and replace the screws, making certain to start with the one in the middle. You wonder what would happen if you inserted them in the wrong order. Maybe Dave was just screwing with you, and the order doesn't matter. Better safe than sorry. Bonnie's now right as rain, but you hear footsteps out there. It must be Chica. Since the last time you checked on Foxy, he was backstage. Knowing how late it is, you decide to hurry back to the security office. You return to the security office and slump into your seat. This job is finally getting to you, but you can't let it get the best of you. You just need a moment to catch your breath. You close your eyes and breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. A sound startles you awake. Oh no, you've fallen asleep on the job. After all the times you've warned night watchmen to always stay vigilant and faithfully reported those who shirked their responsibilities and dozed through a shift, you're embarrassed and annoyed at yourself. It's just that you're having trouble adjusting to the late hours, and dealing with the animatronics is wearing you out. You can beat yourself up later. Something woke you. A sound. Or wait, was it 2 sounds? You're still disoriented from your unintentional nap, but you think you heard footsteps approaching the door on the left, and someone groaning from the door on the right. You could have dreamed them up, or you could be in imminent danger. You only have time to act on one potential threat. Your clock reads 5:55 a.m., so you only have to survive for 5 minutes. Use the bonus item. You quickly grab your mobile phone and press one of the speed dial buttons. You don't know which, but you hear a phone ringing near the dining area. The groaning at the right door stops and footsteps move away down the east hall. The steps you heard approaching from the left door are gone. Phew! Your distraction worked and it's 5:55 a.m. You have enough time to record another message for your successor. You call into the messaging service and start talking.
Hello? Hello? Well, if you're hearing this and you made it to day 2, congrats. I won't talk quite as long this time since Freddy and his friends tend to become more active as the week progresses. It might be a good idea to peek at those cameras while I talk, just to make sure everyone's in their proper place, you know.
You keep talking and pushing buttons on the cameras until the clock rolls over to 6 a.m. As soon as you get home, you rush to your daughter's room and check on her. She's sleeping with her left leg sticking out from under the covers and a pillow over her face. You must have spaced out for a minute because the next thing you know, she screams and throws the pillow at your head. You catch it and hold it to your chest. What's wrong? You say. Why were you standing there staring at me? She says. I was about to wake you for school. I'm sorry, it's been a weird night. She pushes her hair back from her face. It's okay. It was just kind of creepy. When I first woke up, I must have been still dreaming. You look like that Fredbear thing from your job. You mean Freddy Fazbear? Whatever, he weirds me out. They all do. She's never gotten over the time you brought her to work to meet the animatronics when she was 7, and they made her cry so hard she threw up her pizza and cake. She had nightmares for at least a week afterwards. Never mind, it's just me, your loving Dad Bear. You open your arms for a hug. She squints at you. Please never say Dad Bear again. You feel bad about scaring her and ruining her morning. You don't want her to have bad memories of you like that. Gifts always make her feel better. Give her the coin. Oh hey, I got you something. You flip the plastic coin over to her. The coin falls on her superhero bedspread and she grabs it. She holds it up and closes one eye to inspect it with the other. I just said that your freaky robot friends freak me out, and this one is the freakiest of all. Foxy was always my favorite. She looks at you. That explains a lot about you. I wasn't expecting this kind of attitude until you were a teenager. I'm almost, she says. You're not, and don't be in a rush to grow up. Anyway, that is a collectible gold treasure coin. She bites down on it. It's fake. You grimace. It was kind of dirty. It's all scratched up and mangled. Fine, you hold out your hand. Give it back. She flips it in the air and catches it. I love it because you gave it to me. You smile. Even if it's just some junk you found on the floor at work or something, it's nice to know you were thinking of me. You sigh. Always, kiddo. I'll go make breakfast while you change for school. If I get heads, you have to make pancakes. She flips the coin again and it comes up Foxy. Pancakes? I never agreed to that, you grumble, but you go to the kitchen and start mixing the batter. It's only after she leaves for school that you remember Foxy's head is on both sides of the coin. Night 3, 12 a.m. You feel well rested and excited about going to work, just like you used to, until you step inside the dark and dreary security office. Somehow, all your enthusiasm deflates and you feel exhausted, as if you hadn't slept for 8 hours. As if you had always been in this office, and you will always be in this office. You settle into the seat and sigh, feeling like you've aged 5 years in the 5 seconds it took you to come in and sit down. It must be this midnight shift. Working as night watchman, you lose touch with all the good parts of the job that motivate you each day. There are no co-workers to catch up with. You don't see the smiling kids' faces or hear their happy laughter, and you don't get to see the animatronics the way they're meant to be seen, as entertainers instead of vengeful stalkers. When you go outside into the sunlight, your memories of the night before seem to dull and fade. When you are safe at home talking to Capellia, you question everything that happened, and you come to the same conclusion. You imagined it. It wasn't that bad. After all, you're alive. If the animatronics were really alive and hurting you, what would be your chances of surviving 1 night? 2? 5? Really darn slim. Maybe these lapses in memory are some survival mechanism. How can you go home to your daughter each morning and live a normal life knowing such horrors exist in the world? How could you leave her each night and come back to work here, knowing you might never see her again, only if you forget? But you have a job to do. You've always been the responsible one, even as a kid. No one had to ask you to do your homework before watching TV and riding your bike. You were, and still are, what they call an overachiever. And yet you ended up working security at Freddys. So many people don't understand that, but you tell them, some things are more important than a fancy job and a big paycheck. I love those animatronics, and I make a difference when I go to work each day. Do you still believe that? Did you ever? You sit up straight and switch on the security monitor. Time to make the donuts, you mutter. A child laughs behind you. You spin the chair around and look behind you. There's nothing there but lockers and shadows. Pull yourself together, Ralph. Only 3 more nights. You begin as you always do, pushing buttons. You cycle through all the camera feeds on the monitors, and everything is copacetic until you hit the party rooms. What the? You lean closer to the jittery video screen. A table and chairs have been overturned in party room 2. There's a large dark puddle on the floor. The window in the far wall is broken. A crushed party hat lies in the hallway outside. This is why we don't have more windows. Everyone always wants to schedule their parties in party room 2 because it's one of the few windows in the restaurant, but the moment you saw it, you knew it was a big security risk. Kids are always breaking in on a dare, though no one has ever gotten inside before. Someone has to clean up that mess in party room 2. You put your finger on your nose. Not it, you say. You sigh. This security job has more janitorial duties than you expected. You need supplies from the closet in the west hall to mop the floor and board up the windows. And you should locate that intruder before they break anything else, or get themselves hurt. Check the supply closet camera. You punch the button for the supply closet camera and nearly wet yourself when you see Bonnie waiting inside. When you were a kid, you used to play hide-and-seek with your dad, but his tactic was to hide in places like closets and then pop out shouting "boo" just before you found him. No matter how much you screamed or cried or peed yourself after a jump scare, he laughed at you and kept doing it. Your dad had a mean streak. After a while, you stopped asking him to play hide-and-seek, or anything at all, which, now that you think of it, might have been his plan all along. When you play hide-and-seek with Coppelia, you make as much noise as possible and pretend you don't notice her peeking at you from between her fingers when she counts rapidly to 20. You always act surprised when she finds you, even in the silliest hiding places, like under a blanket or the sofa or crouching behind the TV stand with your butt hanging out. You never ever hide in closets. When she does, she gives you a big hug after you give up and she comes out. You doubt Bonnie's going to give you a hug. At least not the kind you can survive. All the oxen free, you mutter. Eventually, Bonnie leaves the closet. The hall camera shows him walking to the dining area. Hurry to the supply closet. You open the supply closet in the west hall and yelp when something reaches out of the darkness. It hits you in the face and you jerk backwards. The wooden handle of a mop falls and clatters hollowly on the black and white tiled floor. You chuckle and look up at the security camera in the hall. You flash it a V sign with your fingers and then stoop to pick up the mop and return it to the bucket. Gradually, your racing pulse returns to normal. You have 2 big jobs ahead of you in Party Room 2. You have to clean up that spill and broken glass and board up the window. Everything you need is right here, but you can't carry all the supplies with you. You'll have to make 2 trips, but you're not sure which task you should do first. Clean up the spill and broken glass first. You hate messes, so you decide to clean that spill first. You know it will only get more difficult to wipe up if it dries. You grab a mop and the bucket, then look around for some cleaning solution. The bottles on the shelf are all industrial-grade stuff, high-concentration bleaches and stain removers. You bet this is what people use to clean up crime scenes. Despite its smell and appearance, Freddys is a sanitary place, and management is always reminding staff to keep it clean and tidy, at least in the public spaces. You kick up a crumpled piece of paper someone has left in the closet and roll your eyes. But you want to set a better example, so you pick up the paper and smooth it out. It's an old newspaper clipping with an ominous headline: "Kids vanish at local pizzeria, bodies not found." You hastily ball up the article again and toss it into the trash where it belongs. Those poor children, you think. Those poor parents. You heft a jumbo bottle of bleach. It's heavy and a lot to juggle with the mop and the bucket. Should you fill the bucket here or carry the bottle to Party Room 2 with everything else? You fill it in Party Room 2. It doesn't seem wise to handle chemicals in a confined space like the supply closet, so you place the bottle of bleach in the bucket with the mop and drag them to Party Room 2. You flip on the light. It's a horror show. The spill inside looks like blood. A lot like blood. It smells like blood too, a bitter metallic scent that you can almost taste, like copper. You gag and then throw up your dinner. Now you have an even bigger mess to clean up. You empty the jug of bleach into the bucket and then get to work, mopping up the blood and vomit. The stench and fumes might be overpowering if not for the shattered window in the far wall, which lets in fresh air. Even though you hate bodily fluids when they're outside the body, where they shouldn't ever be, you find you enjoy work like this. When you're done, the floor is clean and no one would ever be able to tell that some person or some animal lost a catastrophic amount of life-giving blood in this room. If there's no evidence, it may as well have never happened. Management will be pleased. You're so busy admiring your handiwork you don't hear the footsteps until they're almost right outside. If you have the bonus item, you may use it. You grab your mobile phone and speed dial backstage. The phone line rings on the other end of the dining area. The footsteps hurry off in that direction. That bought you some time to get this mess cleaned up. With one hand pinching your nose shut, you mop quickly with the other. When you're done, you dump the bucket of bleach and pine cleanser out the broken window to lighten your load. Then it's back to the supply closet to get a hammer, boards, and nails to fix up the window. You continue dialing different numbers around the restaurant to keep the animatronics moving and out of your hair, but you don't want to drain this phone's battery. You're certain the loud hammering is going to bring an animatronic or 2 your way, so you call the security office to get them as far away from you as possible. Then you board up the window and beat a hasty retreat. In the hall outside the party room, you ring backstage one more time to lure anyone away from the security office and clear your way back, but this time, someone picks up the phone. The intruder? You'd almost forgotten someone else might be in the restaurant. Static crackles on the line, and you hold your breath to listen closely. All you can hear are the faint echoes of children's laughter. Then the line goes dead. The screen of your phone lights up with a message. Save them. By the time you make it back to the security office, you are so done. With this night, with this job, with Fazbear Entertainment, and most of all with the animatronics. But it's nothing a good night's sleep can't fix. You're sure you'll be feeling much better tomorrow when you come back to work. Tonight has just been a lot. You can't stop thinking about the mess you mopped up in the party room. That pool of blood used to be a person. Possibly. Probably not. Even if someone broke into the restaurant and got a closer look at the animatronics than they bargained for, no one deserves to die like that. There wasn't anything left to identify, so if anyone is waiting for them at home, they'll never know what happened. Maybe there'll be another one of those faces on the back of a milk carton. Unless you didn't see any sign of the intruder in the restaurant, but perhaps they'd been there all along, hiding in plain sight. Like inside one of the unused suits in the room behind the stage? You pull up the backstage camera feed. Bonnie is in there now, but you're more curious about the Freddy suit on the work table, wondering if it's actually empty. Are you curious enough to check it? It's 5:57. Shift's almost over. Oh well, maybe you'll get a chance to check those suits tomorrow. At the moment, you just have enough time and battery on your mobile phone to record a message for the next night watchman. A brief one. They'll probably never listen to it. Most of the night shift security guards don't stick around. You guess the story's got to them. Freddy's is spooky at night when you're alone, no doubt about that, even without animatronics roaming around who might see you as a threat. You hope your messages help someone someday, but you're also recording them for you. They help you organize your thoughts and put some perspectives on the night you just had. It's almost a sort of therapy, having a conversation with the person who will replace you, even if it's a one-sided one. Making these messages is a way of affirming that you will be leaving and someone else will be in this chair. Just 2 more nights to go. The desk clock flips over to 6 a.m. Home again. You stop in the kitchen and wash your hands vigorously under the hottest water you can stand for 2 minutes, and they still don't feel clean. This last night has left a mark on you that you don't think will ever come out. You head to your daughter's room and run into her in the hall, already dressed for school. Capella has bags under her eyes. You look at each other for a moment and then she wraps you in a tight hug. "Are you okay?" she whispers, her voice trembles. "I'm alive," you laugh, but neither of you finds it funny. "Are you okay? Why are you up so early?" "I didn't sleep well." The two of you walk back to the kitchen together. She holds onto your arm. "Someone called last night, looking for you." "Who? When?" "She didn't say. She called a minute after you left, hoping to catch you." "Did she leave a message?" "She said she would, and then she hung up. There wasn't a good connection." "Huh, if it's important, then she'll call back." You don't feel up to making breakfast, and Capella doesn't seem up to eating much, so you pour 2 bowls of cereal. "I'm glad you're home," she says. "Me too." "Can't I skip school? I want to hang out with you." You're tempted, but she needs to go to class. That's what kids do, right? Just like you have to work. "I don't think so. Not today, sweetie. I need to sleep anyway." "Go ahead, I just want to be around you." "Staring at me while I sleep? Sounds creepy." You wink and you both laugh, and just like that, whatever has been haunting you lifts and memories of the awful night fade away. "Tell you what, you can stay home if you tidy your room. It's getting to be a mess, and I'm done cleaning up after other people." "No deal." You smirk. "Thought so." "So, bring me any souvenirs?" she asks as she ties her shoes. "I did find a couple things lying around." An image of the large bloody puddle pops into your mind. Your breakfast starts to come back up, but you swallow it down. It leaves a bad taste in your mouth. "Dad, what's wrong?" "Tonight was a lot. I'll tell you about it later." "Never." "Here's a prize for you being daughter of the month." You reach into your bag. You flash her a thumbs up. Night 4, 12 a.m. You know something is off as soon as you arrive for your shift tonight. Way off. It doesn't take a detective to figure that much out, because all the lights are on at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, like it's open for business, only it's midnight. So maybe someone forgot to switch off the lights on their way out, but it isn't as simple as that. Like the good night watchmen you are, you check the security cameras before you do anything else, and what you see has you both baffled and anxious. The animatronics are more active than usual, especially for this hour. They seem to be having a party in the dining area. Freddy is up on the stage singing his Clockwork Heart out, while Bonnie and Chica are showing off their moves on the dance floor below. Bonnie is swinging his bass guitar around, and Chica is doing the chicken dance up and down the aisles, knocking chairs over. Even Foxy is joining in, so you know this is big trouble. He's dancing on the tables, crushing party hats and shredding tablecloths with his shiny metal feet. You cover your eyes. Now this is a nightmare. You don't know how you're going to clean this up, but you can't even think of janitorial duties until you shut down the party. How are you going to do that? You can't just ask them nicely to stop. They'll come right after you. With all the lights on, maybe the animatronics never switched over to night mode, and they don't know what to do without supervision or kids to entertain. You might be able to get them back on track if you just turn off the lights. But you can't walk around switching off lights either. Then they'll come right after you. If only there was a way to turn off all the lights at once. Other than praying for a well-timed blackout to make it easier for you, your best bet is to head to the break room and shut down the power to the entire restaurant. That should force their systems to reboot. But there's a big problem. The breaker room is behind the stage, on the other side of the dining area, and sneaking through there with all the lights on, without alarming Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, or Foxy would be a small miracle. If you succeed at that, you're definitely going to buy a lottery ticket in the morning. You pace around the office. You walk back and forth in the cramped security office. It may seem like a waste of energy to some people, or an annoying habit, but pacing helps you figure your way out of a bad situation. You think best on your feet, and moving around feels like you're doing something even if you aren't actually going anywhere. But tonight, you feel more like a zoo animal trapped in a too small cage. The security office is the only safe place at the moment. But what happens when the animatronics decide to bring the party to you? You aren't good at parties, especially costume parties where you might end up stuffed into a suit filled with robot parts. You keep walking between the lockers at the back of the office and the desk at the front, where the TV shows the animatronics wrecking the dining room. You don't know how many times you've looked at those lockers, but on your 10th or 11th trip, you notice something new, behind the lockers. A ventilation opening near the floor. You drive the lockers away from the door, wincing at the sound of scraping metal. Has this vent always been here? You're excited. You can use these to sneak right by the dining area undetected, if you can find your way. You crawl inside and immediately face a decision. Turn right or turn left. You turn right. Picturing the floor plan of the restaurant in your mind, you anticipate that turning right will be the most direct way to the northwest corner, in the backstage area where the breaker room is. The thumps of your head and feet as you crawl through the ventilation shaft echo around you, and the thin metal vibrates with a wobbly sound. You're surprised that the flimsy construction can hold your weight, and even more surprised with how spacious it is inside, less constricting than you expected. You suppose good airflow and filtration are important in public spaces, especially where notorious disease vectors like children are involved. These shafts are probably big enough for an animatronic to pass through, so someone your size has no trouble negotiating them. However, it's a confusing labyrinth of passages in here. You navigate by instinct, trying to move generally toward the stage, but the layout doesn't make any sense. Some branches lead to dead ends for no discernible reason, while others let out into dusty rooms you don't even recognize. It seems like whole sections of the building have been closed off over the years, or perhaps they're expansions that were abandoned before completion. Or maybe you're just hallucinating, giving in to the darkness and the monotony in your imagination. Whatever the reason, you're well and truly lost. Use the phone. Each time you shift your weight in the ventilation shaft, the metal groans and the footsteps outside pause. When they resume, they're closer. It's only a matter of time before the animatronics get into the breaker room, and then you won't be able to stop them. Or worse, they may get into the vents. A distraction would buy you some time. You take out your mobile phone. The battery indicator is low. You've been using it intermittently for days, and you don't have the right charger for it. Hopefully, it can get you through the rest of the week. You want the animatronics as far away from you as possible, but you know if you dial the security office phone directly, they won't be able to hear it, to be drawn to it. So you dial a series of numbers in sequence to lure them away. First the dining area. You hear the phone ringing and the footsteps close by move toward it. It's working. You wait 30 seconds and then dial Pirate Cove. You can barely hear that phone from here, the sound echoing in the vents. After 30 seconds pass, you call the security office. You can't hear the phone ring from here, but you trust it has taken some of the heat off you. You keep the line open while you kick off the ventilation grate. It falls to the floor with a clatter that you hope won't bring the animatronics right back. Crawl into the breaker room. This room is unfriendly to human life. Exposed power conduits run along the ceiling and power cables, and wires dangle down the walls from the ceiling. You don't want to touch any of them. The air around you buzzes with electricity. It's at least 20 degrees warmer in here than anywhere else in the restaurant. It would be really easy for a fire to start here, you think? No one would even question it. Sweat drips down your forehead and back as you study the power control panel. There are 5 round buttons, like elevator buttons, faintly glowing green. Green is good, that means they're on. You should be able to just push them to turn off power to each area of the restaurant, but you don't know whether you need to press them in a certain order or risk shorting out the entire system. All your life you've gotten used to not pushing buttons, especially when you don't know what they do, but it seems like that's your official job lately. Well, this is what you came for, so you better do something. You push the buttons from left to right. Okay, let's not overthink this, you think. Or maybe you should overthink this? This place has been making you question everything and second-guess yourself at almost every step, but sometimes you need to follow your instincts and use common sense. That's why they hired you, isn't it? Isn't it? In all your years with Frasmere Entertainment, they haven't exactly had people lining up to fill positions, and it's been harder and harder to hire new staff, thanks to negative news coverage of a few isolated incidents. You were so proud when they hired you for security, but what if you were the only candidate? Well, you've proven your value time and time again. Tonight is no different. You're going to leave Freddys with a spotless record and a glowing recommendation, so you'll have your pick of opportunities, a job that will give you more time to spend with Coppelia, and a lower chance of suffering serious harm, disability, or death on the job. You quickly press each button on the panel in sequence. They glow crimson and a soft hum indicates power shutting off around the restaurant. Then, one by one, the buttons turn green as the system restarts. You quickly crack open the door and peek into the dining area. The main lights are now out. It would be faster to take a more direct route back to the security office, but strange enough, you feel more comfortable in the ventilation shaft. It's the only way to travel. The trip doesn't take you as long as you thought it would, since you know the way now. Once you thought you heard something scraping and clanking and thumping in the vents, but it was pretty far away, off near Pirate Cove. It's almost 6 a.m., Foxy, you call out softly. While you doubt he heard you, or listen if he did, for some reason he does not come after you. When you crawl out of the vent into the security office, you see the clock reads 5:57 a.m. It's close to quitting time. When you get home, you head straight for your daughter's room, but she isn't there. Shaking with fear, you call out to her and search the house. Capella? Capella? In here, her voice is muffled, but it sounds like it's coming from your bedroom. You rush upstairs and find her sitting on your messy bed in her pajamas. Pell! You rush to her side and grab her in a tight embrace. Ow, what's wrong? I was worried when you weren't in your room. What are you doing in here? She yawns. I missed you, Daddy. I missed you too, kiddo. Any reason? Because you weren't here, duh! You roll your eyes. You lie next to her and stare up at the ceiling while she snuggles against you. This is nice, you think. Capella used to do this all the time when she was little, but you know these days are numbered. Eventually, probably sooner than you like, she won't even want to talk to you. You'll miss all those sleepless nights with her tossing and turning, sticking her feet in your face, lying on your arm until it's numb, so you'd better enjoy it while you can. The next thing you know, Capella is kissing you goodbye on the cheek. She is dressed for school and holding a Pop-Tart in one hand, her backpack in the other. I'm leaving, she says. Daddy, can you stay home from work today? I can't, you mumble, already falling back to sleep. Just one last night. Night 5, 12 a.m. You start your last shift ever at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza with mixed emotions. This has been a killer week, but you handled everything well, and the events of the last 4 nights have reminded you that you're still very good at your job. The animatronics require, no, they deserve, caretakers who appreciate them and understand them, and you've always been that. And yet you can certainly do without the high stress and anxiety that you might not survive until morning. Your daughter needs someone to take care of her too. The night watchman can always be replaced, but she only has one dad. Okay, technically fathers can be replaced, but there is definitely only one Capella, and you'd like to be in her life as she grows up. That's what all this is for, so you can get a job with a lower mortality rate and a better work-life balance. For some reason, you've had a hard time remembering each night after you go home, until you come back to work the next day. Like it says in your employee handbook, what happens at Freddy's stays at Freddy's. Unless there's major coverage in the papers and nightly news. One of the drawbacks of working the late shift is there are no co-workers to see you off on your last night. You always thought if you left this job, the company would throw you a big going-away party celebrating your many years of service. Then again, considering what can happen at Freddy Fazbear's pizza parties, you're probably better off not drawing too much attention to yourself, as sweet as it would be to hear Freddy sing for He's a Jolly Good Fellow to you. Actually, it turns out the restaurant didn't even open today. You don't know why. Maybe it was because the dining area was such a mess, you think guiltily. That doesn't affect your shift, though, except who knows what the animatronics have been up to all day on their own. Which reminds you about the job you have to do. This is no time to fall asleep at the wheel. You switch on the monitor and check out the show stage camera. Your seat isn't even warm yet before you jump up from it in surprise. The stage is empty. It's just after midnight. The animatronics are way ahead of schedule. They could be restless after being alone all day. Hopefully they aren't upset about the party last night being interrupted. They might be out seeking revenge. Or they could just be angry that you're leaving? You've been a part of the Fazbear family TM for so long, maybe they don't want you to go. Or maybe they don't want you to get away. You laugh off these ridiculous notions as you punch buttons to check each camera. You've definitely been working here too long if you think the animatronics have a vendetta. They can only respond to external stimuli according to their programming, like recharging when the lights go out, or restoring wandering exoskeletons to their suits where they belong. Ha ha ha! You find the animatronics immediately. Bonnie's at the far end of the West Hall, heading toward the security office. Freddy's in the dining area, making his way down the aisle toward the security office. Foxy is halfway through the curtains of Pirate's Cove, also probably on his way to the security office. Who told them you're leaving? How do they know? You swallow your panic and keep clicking around. Chica? Where's Chica? The kitchen camera is dark as usual, but you don't hear anyone in there. Chica could be anywhere. You glance over at the open door to your right. She could be anywhere. You close the right door. In the pit of your stomach, you feel certain that Chica is about to breach the security office, so you shut the door on your right, just in time. Someone bangs on the reinforced steel from the other side. "'Tis some visitor," you mutter, "tapping at my chamber door, only this and nothing more." You flip on the hall light and see the distinctive shape of Chica. She keeps pounding on the door and shrieks. Quoth the chicken, nevermore. You laugh shakily. You often crack jokes when you're nervous, but this close call has got your pulse going. At least you know where all the animatronics are now, or where they were a few minutes ago. A lot could have changed already. Last you checked, Bonnie was on his way down the West Hall to mess up your night, but you don't hear him now. He could still be lurking nearby, or maybe he's lost interest in you. Check the cameras again. You pull up the camera for the West Hall to check on Bonnie's progress, but he isn't your main concern anymore, because Foxy is racing toward the security office. You jump up to close the left door to block Foxy, but his footsteps are loud and fast in the hall. He could reach the door before you can shut it. Act fast. You use the water pistol that we totally have. All you have is a water pistol, so you draw it and take a defensive stance, just like you practiced in the mirror after watching the Lethal Weapon movies. His child's toy is far from lethal, but it makes you feel better, and you hope that Foxy doesn't recognize that it's harmless. Foxy bursts into the office and wastes no time rushing at you. Even though you knew he was coming, his sudden, aggressive appearance startles you, and you reflexively fire your gun at his chest. Water squirts from the pistol into a tear in Foxy's mascot suit that exposes the exoskeleton within. Shockingly, the water sizzles and sparks shoot out of the chest cavity. Foxy jerks and stutters to a stop, his hook and exposed metal hand just inches from your neck. The acrid smell of cooked electronics reaches your nostrils. The light in Foxy's eye dies, and for a moment regret overwhelms you. You wish it hadn't come to this. He's down for the count, for now. But there's no time for a eulogy. You brush past him and hurry to the back of the security office. You punch the button to close the ventilation cover, and a metal grate kerthunks into place. Not a moment too soon. Something is moving around inside the ventilation shaft, but now you hear strains of classical music. You sigh. Freddy Fazbear is on the way. You use the cell phone. You cannot wait for the night to end, preferably with you seeing the sunrise on your way home to your daughter. The likelihood of that scenario is decreasing by the second as you hear Freddy Fazbear's signature music draw closer. It seems to be coming through the open vent behind you. You aren't even certain anymore that Freddy or the other animatronics obey the laws of reality. For all you know, he can just teleport into the office, or anywhere else he wants to be in the blink of an eye. Maybe that's why he doesn't move around that much. He doesn't have to. With wary resignation, you pull out the mobile phone. What you do next may be the last thing you ever do. Call for help, call phone, record a message for your replacement. We're gonna call for help first. 911, what is your emergency? As quickly as you can, you tell the switchboard operator everything, and surprisingly, she believes you. It might help that you can hear the animatronics banging against the door, Freddy's maniacal laughter, and the creepy circus music, punctuated by the sound of children crying. I always knew something was off about that restaurant, and I don't mean the cheese and the pizza. I don't know about killer animatronics, but it sounds like something is going down. I'm sending a squad car. An animatronic on the hallway lets out a terrifying scream. I'll send 2 cars, she says. Sit tight, sir. Help is on the way. You were so relieved that she was able to hear everything happening right now. You were starting to think it was all in your head. What if it is all in your head? Even the 911 call. In that case, of course you heard what you wanted to hear. Pretty soon you hear something else. Police car sirens. A banging and crash as they beat down the door to get in. Gunshots. The cavalry has arrived. You're saved and reunited with your daughter. Fazbear Entertainment can't fire you anymore, but they do sue you for defamation and destruction of private property. Worst of all, you're never quite able to believe what you're seeing and hearing again. Part of you is convinced you're still in the restaurant, and that it will never, ever let you leave. Game over. That was a dark one, I liked that. Okay, we're gonna call home. I'm guessing the canon answer is a replacement for your, message for your replacement, obviously. With that said, it is night 5, so you should be dead already, unless the nights aren't necessarily coinciding. Mike's nights aren't coinciding with Phone Guy's nights. Phone Guy's night 5 could be Mike's night 4. Especially since right now they are banging. Oh, yeah, right now they're totally banging on the doors. So this is the night that they get you, right? Right? We'll see. I'm actually pretty excited. With a trembling finger, you dial your home number. It's early in the morning and you hate to wake up your daughter, but you want to hear her voice. You need to let her know that you would never abandon her. The line clicks and Coppelia's groggy voice answers. Yeah? Is that how you answer the phone, you say? Yeah, Dad, what time is it? Late, or early, depending on how you look at it. How's work? Are you coming home soon? Oh, I wish. Is something wrong? What can you say to her? There's so much. A lifetime of unwanted advice, family stories, bad jokes, but it all boils down to 3 words. You abruptly notice that Foxy's eyes are glowing again. He is reactivated, but for some reason he hasn't attacked you. Because he's listening. You realize that it's quiet. Too quiet. The other animatronics have stopped their moaning and knocking. Even Freddy's music is silent. I know, Dad. You can practically hear her eyes rolling. I have to say it while I can. You take a deep breath. Don't come here. I thought he was going to say I love you. The only 3 words that matter. Don't come here. You disconnect the call and calmly erase your number from the history. You look up at Foxy. Promise to leave her alone and I'll stay. For good. Foxy nods slowly, though it's not like you have a choice. Game over. I love whenever the animatronics are given any amount of like characterization, like anthropomorphization, and they act like monsters. I think the community thinks a little too much about how like the children inside the animatronics are like guiding them, which is not the case. The children's life force is animating them, and they are like evil kind of. No, yeah, I love it. I love it. You know, they're like animals. That's what the puppet says in UCN. You know, I love this characterization of the animatronics. And the book, obviously, its favorite is Foxy. Its favorite has always been Foxy. Alright, so we're leaving a recorded message for Mike. It looks like this is going to be your last night. It's some consolation that you will continue on in some way. Through your daughter, yes, but also through your legacy here at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. You might even end up saving someone's life one day, through these recordings for the next person who will sit in this chair. Whoever that poor soul may be. Do you have any last words? Maybe something that could help succeed where you failed? Don't overthink it. You dial the number for the recording system and start talking.
Oh, hello, hey!
You never left a message for them last night. This will be sent on, their 4th night? I love that they addressed that. Amazing.
Hey, wow, day 4. I knew you could do it. Hey, listen, I may not be around to send you a message tomorrow.
Animatronics are banging on both doors. They're obviously getting agitated. They probably don't want you to make this recording.
It's been a bad night here.
Bang, 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 bang.
For me. I'm kind of glad that I recorded my messages for you. When I did. Hey, do me a favor.
The banging gets even louder and doesn't stop. You keep talking over it.
Maybe sometime you could check inside those suits in the back room. I'm going to try to hold out until someone checks. Maybe it won't be so bad.
Will they do it? Will the next security guard return the favor and try to save you? Will it make a difference? You want to hope this isn't the end, but having lived through almost 5 nights at Freddy's, you know the deal. Your replacement won't understand what you're saying, or they won't believe you either until it's too late. Or maybe the animatronics won't even give them the opportunity to leave the security office. They're definitely more aggressive tonight, as if something has changed. Maybe you've changed them through your interactions with them this week. Some legacy.
Yeah, I always wondered what was in all those empty heads back there.
A chime sounds behind you. What is that? You know, you turn around, thinking Foxy's rebooted himself, but then you see what's behind him. Freddy Fazbear. Something moans. Is it you?
Oh no.
The animatronics scream. All of them. The doors in the office pop open and the camera feed cuts out. The monitor spews static and snow dances across the screen. The phone line goes dead. When you come to, how? It's dark. You can't move your head, but through 2 small eye holes, you can just make out what appears to be the repair shop behind the stage. I'm okay, you wonder? Something smells bad. It might be you. It's me. Why can't you move your head? Your hands? I'm not okay. All your choices have led here, and now you're out of options. The only thing you can do is wait. The end. And that is the canon ending of this book. That is the canon ending of Phone Guy. He dies on his 5th night, leaving a recording for your 4th night. I guess that this gets rid of the fan theory from back in the day that Golden Freddy is the one who kills him. It seems like all of the animatronics together grabbed him and stuffed him in this suit. It also seems like he's either conscious back there, like forever, which is terrifying, or that he's just slowly dying and has survived the initial stuffing. But yeah, that is technically the ending of this story. This was obviously only like the beginning-ish of Night 5. I'm going to go through and see if there's any more locations to use this bonus call. I did see it earlier, but if you remember on Night 1, there's a time when you can dial the phone, and if you don't know the number, if you don't know the 2014 number, it doesn't work. If you do that, it just kind of links up with a different path and it doesn't go anywhere. But yeah, so I'm going to go through now and see other places to maybe use the phone. This was interesting. If you technically want to do it right, you need to get the water gun, but like not give it to your daughter. That's the only way to get this like proper canon ending. I'm also going to say, usually in the previous book in VIP, the little asterisks next to the end meant that was the canon ending. It also said, and that's the truth, which I thought might be a reoccurring thing in the books. This is the canon ending. But there's no asterisks, and it doesn't say, and that's the truth. So that means that there's going to be a lot of discourse about which ending is the real one. Also, the fact that you need to have this magic phone on your first night to even get this ending, kinda weird. We'll discuss this at the end of the video. If you skip ahead to Night 6, so if you don't follow this properly canon path all the way to the end, and you do get to Night 6, you get to the section where you're in the endlessly looping ventilation shafts. While you're in there, you have the option of using the bonus item and calling somebody. If you do that, you get into this area. You aren't making any progress in these vents and you don't have much time. You slide the mobile phone from the back of your belt and scroll through the contracts. You need to get to the stage, so you dial the dining area and strain your ears to listen. There, the ringing phone is very distant and barely audible. You've really gotten turned around in here, but now you have a sonic beacon leading you in the right direction. You keep the phone line open and follow the sound through the corridors until it's loud and clear. You spot an exit up ahead and are both relieved and concerned that someone else has already torn off the metal ventilation cover and crumpled it up like a discarded candy wrapper. At this point, you don't care if there's an animatronic waiting for you. You are done with these vents. You disconnect the call and clamber out of there. You seem to be all alone in the dining area, even though the ringing phone should have attracted the animatronics. You worry that you're already too late. You hurry to the hatch for the crawlspace and wriggle inside. The switch box for the charging platform has cables snaking out of it, more than there should be. There are 6 small metal switches, alternating in the up and down positions. You have no idea what you're looking at. It's time to dial a friend. Call Dave. Ralph, Dave yawns. This is becoming a habit. How did you get my home number anyway? That's not important, you say. So, I'm in the crawlspace under the stage. There are 6 switches, and I think someone's been messing with them. What? Dave sighs. I'm coming over. But I better get overtime for this, or it's coming out of your pay. No, you say. I don't want you to die. You shouldn't have to come out here in the middle of the night. Can't you just talk me through them? Do the switches map the position of the diagram taped to the power relay? You look around, but you don't see any such diagram, and you tell him so. Alright, what position are they in? He asks. The first one is up, the second one is down, then up, then down, then up, then down. Dave swears. You gotta fix this, Ralph. There's no telling what will happen to the animatronics if they get too much or too little power. It could cause all sorts of malfunctions, damage their batteries. Send them on a murderous rampage? Dave is quiet. Not funny, Ralph. Sorry. Here's the correct configuration. You ready? You might want to put on some rubber gloves for this. You don't see those either, but you're sure it'll be alright. Dave tells you to flip the first 3 switches up and the next 2 down and leave the last one in the middle. Sparks fly and you get a little jolt as you follow his instructions. That should do it, Dave says. Hey, I thought you quit. Wasn't last night your last shift? I just had some unfinished business, you say. This is my final night at Freddys. Well, it's been nice working with you. Good luck, and lose this number. Click. Thanks, Dave. I'll miss you too. You study the power relay, waiting for something to happen. Then you realize this isn't going to change anything. You just put the switches back how they're supposed to be, but the animatronics are already powered up. The only way to stop them now is to overload them the way Dave said you shouldn't, or drain the excess charge from their batteries. How do you do that? You doubt Dave will tell you how to sabotage the animatronics, if he even takes another call from you, so now you're on your own. And then that links up with the other takes. That's actually the last page of the book. So now we get the About the Authors page. And that is the end of Five Nights at Freddy's the Week Before, an interactive novel. I am shocked by how good this book was. Like, genuinely, I think that you could take this book, physical book, probably not the digital one, and like give it to anyone, even someone who doesn't know anything about FNaF lore, and they would probably enjoy playing through it. It is so well written. It is so, like, both as a game, like it's fun to play, the gameplay is good, and also just like the prose is so good. This is my favorite FNaF book, if you can even like call it a book. Like the medium is so odd because it's not exactly a narrative. There's obviously also a lot of lore to go over that I'm sure other people are already talking about. I've seen a lot of discourse online about the timeline, because it says that the daughter is 11 years old, but she was like born before you worked at the place. It's like it's possible that this might change the date that FNaF 1 takes place in. To find out about that, I'd have to look a lot more at the evidence and read through the book. But either way, right now I'm just gonna end this because this video is probably like 2 hours at this point. Just to say that I really enjoyed it. I'm glad it came out. I'm so hyped now for the next book and the rest of this series, because so far VIP and this have been incredible. So I'm just happy that this exists, and I cannot wait for next time. And I thank you for watching this very long video, and like this whole series in general. So I hope you come back next time, and I hope you obviously stick around for theories and news and lore and all that fun stuff. So thank you for watching. Please be nice to each other in the comments. Consider supporting the creators you most admire. Never lose sight of the things that are most important to you. Remember that Freddys stands for Friendly, Respectful Engagement, Discussion, Discourse, Yield, Success. Bye!